All right, folks. We're back in Call of the Wild, the Angler. Sorry, I've actually got El Matador on my line. I was like, I should probably start the stream because that was the whole purpose of catching it, was getting it on stream. Anyway. Oh, wow. Come on, Fatso. He wore himself out while I was windowed down starting the streams because I just let off of everything and had the drag set to where he couldn't really plink it too far into the red. So he must have sat there and pulled and pulled and pulled until he wore himself out while I was starting them. That's fine with me. Less I gotta do. He still will come all the way in and then run all the way back out again. That's the way this fish does. He might even do it twice because I only got 44-pound line. So welcome to whoever's watching. So I normally do Amazon Flex deliveries, as anyone who watches on the regular would know. But I get this call at 7:15, 7:18 this morning, something like that. I'm like, who in the heck is calling me that early? Ends up one of my neighbors that owns an irrigation business, and one of my other neighbors, this young kid that works with him, I guess has been becoming pretty unreliable, calling out for like headaches and stuff. It's like, really? Anyway, kid's like 25 or something like that, maybe. Probably like 24. Anyway, anyone who's been listening also knows I've been in a struggle. I'm not getting enough routes as of late. I've been struggling, so I'm not really one to turn down work. I'm 53 years old, and I went out there and trenched in sprinkler heads all day and the lines to them. Dug a 3-foot by 3-foot square hole about 1.5 feet deep for the control valve box and the T-lines, where all the sprinkler runs come into it. Mounted the control box or panel, whatever, on the side of the house and wired all that in. Mounted the wireless it's like a rain detector, where if it detects rain, it shuts the system down so that the sprinklers won't be like saturating the yard after a heavy rain. But anyway, then pulled 2 of the last 4 long runs across the yard that they had. So my neighbor, when he asked what we did today, I told him all that. He just kind of looked at me and was like, y'all got all that done? I was like, yeah. So I was like, what do they normally do? Evidently not that much. But anyway, yeah, he was pleased. And I don't know that the neighbor kid lost his job, but from what I was gathering from texts and stuff going back and forth today, it's not a healthy relationship anymore between them. But I don't know, man. I don't know what's wrong with these kids today. They just don't want to work. It's like that with the people in Amazon I worked with, too. These young ones, they just won't show up. When they do show up, they just want to get paid but not have to do anything. It's like, that ain't how work works. Or want to be on their phone the whole time. You ain't supposed to have your phone on the floor there at Amazon. For intellectual, purposes where, they don't want you. Oh, my God, I just snapped the line with El Matador. Oh, my God. I can't believe I did that. Anyway, to protect their intellectual property rights and stuff, you're not allowed to have phones or... And besides, you're supposed to be freaking working, not talking on your phone. So. Anyway, I don't know what's wrong with these kids. Seem like they all like that, though. Man, I cannot believe I just lost that fish right there at the end. Oh, I had to... How did my drag get to 80? No wonder, man. I must have been hitting that with my thumb and not even realizing it. The spit screen or whatever you call that thing for the podcasting microphone blocks like a good portion of the bottom of my screen over there, so I didn't even notice. I usually peek around it when I'm adjusting the drag so that I can keep an eye on it. Oh, that sucks. I had no idea I was clear up on 80. The heck. You do not want to be trying to bring El Matador in like that. Come back, buddy. All is forgiven. Yeah, when my neighbor called me this morning, I was outside in my sweatpants, just lounge clothing for around where I live. I hadn't gone anywhere, wasn't planning on going anywhere yet this morning, so I'm out there cutting wood and didn't even get the fire going again before I left. I just had to leave and let it be chilly in here all day, but I got home and lit that thing, and boy, I'm going to tell you what, it brought it up 13 degrees in an hour so far. That wood stove don't play. He's putting the work in. And speaking of putting the work in, good Lord, I'm feeling it. I ain't used some of those muscles in a while. And trenching will definitely remind you of which ones you haven't used in a while. It's all good. Hard work's good for you. Good way to clear your mind, take out frustration in the right way, and be a productive part of society instead of a leech upon it. I told him, I was like, man, come next week, if you're still short a person, you know who to call. Now, do I want to do that kind of stuff at 53? Not particularly. Especially since I make that money or better in just a couple hours doing a couple flex routes, or a few hours, we'll say, where I got to go work for him for 8 hours to make that money. So, yeah, not really worth it, but it's opportunity and it's, at the moment, income. So, I don't turn that down. He ain't never been scared of work. Two times the black dude that works for him come up to me and say, man, Dave, you done dug that hole already? That 3 foot by 3 foot square one, especially, that was 1.5 feet deep. I was like, yeah. He's just like, man, you ain't gotta put out like that, man. We ain't doing it. I was like, I don't feel like I did anything special. I'm just working. Whatever, bro. So they must be some serious slackers, man. Him and that neighbor kid. That's the only thing I can figure. When I came this morning, they were talking about, the owner, my neighbor, was like, it ain't gonna be hard. You just gonna set a few sprinkler heads, and we're coming back week after next because he and the black dude are going out of town to do a job for somebody they know down at the beach all next week. So he's like, the customer's not expecting us to be back and, to finish everything until a week after next. But shit, sorry, I don't mean to cuss, and I definitely didn't mean to on my stream. Shoot. We did probably 75 to 80, no, more than that. Probably 80 to 85% of that job is done now. All they got to do is pull 2 more sprinkler runs across the yard out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We did 11. There were 13 runs, so that, yeah, they got 2 more left, and then the one main line that those all tee into, and then set the sprinkler heads. That's like half a day's work, if that. So, yeah, I saved him a lot of money. I don't think he even realizes, the neighbor guy that owns the company, because he didn't even show up out there. He had bids and stuff to go do. But when he gets out there, he's probably going to be like, holy crap, y'all got all that done? Yup, yup. Man, I about fell on my face this afternoon. I was walking across these people's yard where we're doing the trenches, and this girl went jogging by, man. Oh my God. That thing, it was attractive, we'll just say that. I'm not trying to be rude or ugly, but yeah, I was staring a little too hard, about tripped and fell on my face. It's like, man, I'm so glad I did not fall with all these shovels in my hand in front of that girl. Anyway. The black dude was like, "You see that?" I was like, "Man, I ain't blind or gay. Of course I saw that." I was like, "Did you see me almost fall?" He goes, "Yeah, I did, man." He said, "I was wondering what you was doing." I was like, staring too long. Distracted driving. I was distracted driving. It's something very easily to be distracted by, I can tell you that. If you can see and you're not gay. You'd have been like me. You'd probably been staring too long. I couldn't even believe that girl was wearing them, whatever you call them things, yoga pants or whatever, jogging out there like that. It's like, oh my God. The lady we're doing the sprinklers for, I impressed her. She'd never met anybody that knew what a Greater Swiss Mountain Dog was, and she had two of them. I was like, "Are those Greater Swiss Mountain Dogs?" And she goes, "Yes." "How did you know that?" I was like, "Because I've seen them before." It's been since I was a young man, since I've seen one. But there was a farm near my grandparents' farm in Ohio that had one. Actually, I think they had them like the whole time we were growing up. But I remember one in particular that was just one of the greatest dogs I've ever known. Great big old gentle giant, but when he needed to be fierce, like against coyotes and stuff on the farm, he knew what to do, and he was good at it. Anyway, she was just impressed, I guess, that I knew what they were. And dogs know dog lovers. I mean, as soon as I rang the doorbell and she opened the door, they were both wiggling from nose to tail, which is probably because my heart was wiggling from nose to tail. That's just, I like dogs more than I like most people, honestly. And they know that. Dogs can tell dog lovers immediately. They're the dogs and human babies are the best judges of character on this planet, naturally. They know when you're for real or not. But anyway, I could tell both of those dogs knew. It was like, hey, he likes dogs. She was like, hey, y'all aren't nervous of dogs, are you? I was like, I'm fine. I was like, you can let him out if you want to. I said, but the other fella, I knew he was scared of dogs because he said something in the truck when we were riding about some dog that ran up on him, and he was like, almost, you know what, myself. I was like, really, man? I was like, well, was he being mean? He's like, no, man, he just, he was all up in my face and everything. I was like, yeah, but was he being mean and growling? He's like, no. I was like, why did you always crap yourself, man? What the heck? It's just a dog. And then when he told me it was a yellow lab, I was like, oh my God, you got to be kidding me, man. Now, I've met some labs, black labs, that were a little bit mean and dominant, but just because they weren't properly socialized. Anyway, that'd be one of the last dogs I'd be intimidated by as a golden retriever. Oh, man. Some people's churlings. She didn't let him out, though. I was hoping she would. I wanted to play with him. She was like, nah, if he's nervous about it, I don't even want there to be any kind of situation. The other thing was, I was like, well, do they have wireless containment? She's like, no, they'll be like, I was like, well, you definitely don't let your dogs out. They got a fenced backyard, put them in the backyard. I definitely want to meet them, but not if you're going to, they're going to take off on you. They live pretty deep in not like a busy neighborhood where it's house, 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 house. It's like each property has probably 5 acres. So it's, you can see the neighbor's house next to you, but it's not right beside you. You got a nice big yard. They got a nice big yard. Everybody's got a nice big yard over there. But anyway, so they're pretty deep in that neighborhood, but the road coming in, the road you come in off of is a very, very, very busy road, and especially with like commercial dump trucks and stuff. There's so much construction going on over in that area. There's like high-rise apartments going up freaking everywhere. That's why I told that dude, I was like, man, I ain't been on this side of town in a while. When did all these freaking apartments get here? He's like, man, they've been there. I was like, I didn't think it'd been that long since I've been through here. But for it to be completely finished and people living in it, yeah, that's obviously been there for a little bit. Anyway, it's crazy how much the sprawl is taking over that part of Charlottesville, near UVA and all that. Old Thomas Jefferson's College. Look, now we can't get him. I done scared him away. Daggone it, man. I could not believe I broke the line. I cannot believe I had it on 80. That's why. Now I gotta look for the stupid fish again. So yeah, thank you, Lord, for the opportunity today, because it was definitely needed. You alright, go? Did not sound very pleasant. Alright, so I do got the 2-watt. Where you at, Fatso? He's normally right on the surface where you can see it. Sorry if you hear me munching a little bit in the background. I worked up quite an appetite today. Whoa. Man, we just missed him again, daggone it. I wanted to take a bite of my potato salad, you dirty heifer. Fine. Now I messed up twice. Snapped the line, struck too late. Alright. I was like Popeye eating a spinach fish. I just had me tater salad. Now you're mine. Men's controller must be glitching out, because after I said something about being on 80, I took it to 70. How in the world am I on 65 now? I know they'll give it to us again, because Good Grief Trip had Goldstein on, or Big Larry, 6 times in that one episode. He didn't have strong enough line that kept snapping him, but it's like, dang, dude, how many tries do they give you? Evidently a bunch. So we should be good for try number 3. I got my hand on it this time. I'm ready. Excuse me. Might have to move, to re-trigger it or something. Yeah, I'd say so. Alright, pig, I'm ready. Here he is. Alright, now that time I went up to 75. I did do that. But not 80. I pull back on him and he takes more line. Fat hog. Great day. 175, you trying to pluck it. Good grief, man. I don't ever have this much trouble with this fish. And he's a hog, don't get it wrong, but he don't weigh as much as La Monstrinka. I mean, Callpole or Sidewinder. Sidewinder's the heaviest one at 110. Oh, good Lord, fish. You sit there and pull on it till you get tired, dummy. And yes, I bumped it to 85. That's because I'm not pulling on it. Just let him wear himself out trying to pull it himself.